Hi there and welcome to your 2023 Coachmen Prism. We are just going to start off at the back of the unit. At the back you get your 2-inch receiver. Just keep it in mind you do have weight capacities that come with that. You also have a 7-pin wiring that goes up front. Sorry, excuse me. You got your Furrion cable inlet here. And then this back guy here. If you take the unit's keys, you take out this little silver key. It says CH751 on it, matches the one on the lock. Stick it in there, give it a turn, open it up. This is where you get your water connection. As you can tell, if you turn this valve to the left, it goes tank fill. Turning it to the right, you go to city fill. You got this button here that this does turn on the water pump. This turns on a little light. Threaded garden hose in there, depending on what you have the blue valve to, will depend on where it's squirting water, whether it's directly pressurizing your lines or filling up your fresh tank. This little knob here, you're gonna see it says winterize/sanitize. This is just a sanitizing thing. It's not the winterizing port. I will go over winterizing a little bit when we do get inside. Coming around to the driver's side of the unit, got your exterior shower. That's gonna open up with that 751 key I just showed you. Opening up this first storage compartment. Again, massive storage area. And inside this little kit here, that's where you're going to find a 15-foot water hose, 10-foot sewer hose, as well as some other miscellaneous goodies, including a 15-amp park adapter. This guy here, open up this guy. It's typically where you're going to want to store your sewer hose after your first use. We have a brand new one located inside that box there, which is why it's not in there yet. They leave that there so it just keeps as much smell out of the unit as possible. And coming down below here, if you were to take this cap off, your sewer hose has the same ears that lock into place on that end. You got your black valve and your gray valve. You always want to empty your black valve first. It's from your dirtiest water filled from your toilets. And then you can come behind that with your gray valve, which is typically a little cleaner water filled from your sinks and your showers. Coming up ahead here, you get your standard 30-amp twist lock connection. You just take a note of that notch there. Lines up with this notch on this side. Pressing that into place, locking it in by twisting the handle. If you follow that cord back, you do have your standard 30-amp plug end. A lot of campsites should have this so you can plug right on in, but let's say you have the unit at home and you want to run your fridge, or your campsite only has 15-amp service, which is your standard household outlet. We do include that 15-amp park adapter. Keep in mind whenever you are using it, it's realistically just to run your fridge and your lights. You're not going to be able to run your air conditioner off that. This next storage compartment is just storage, and then this front one isn't a storage compartment. It's just an access port to your generator for servicing. Opening up this guy, got the 2 handles, unlock them, plop them open, lift it up. Like you said, it's a service panel, oil level checker, air filter on the left, and then you get your start stop switch. Now this is just an extra one in case the one inside were to not work for whatever reason, but we will go over starting it once we do get inside. To get that in place, you do just kind of have to put that panel in there, lock it in on the bottom first, set it down, and then you can just lock everything down. Around the front of the unit, you get your standard Mercedes chassis gas fills just over there. You do have the driver door open to do that. And then coming along the passenger side, this is the business side I call it. You got your entryway door. I will go over that once we do get inside. Opening up this guy, magnet latches to the side of the unit. You got your sound bar down below, A and B speakers. Only A is hooked up because it's hooked up to those 2 speakers that are outside there. TV right up top. Down below here, you do get your propane fill. So you'd have to go to a propane station to actually fill this, and they worry about most of that stuff. But this little valve here, this is all you have to worry about that's here. Closing it like that, clockwise, righty-tighty, all the way to close it. Counterclockwise, lefty-loosey, to open up the flow of propane, opposite way of what you would think. Right here, you get your Truma water heater. Opening up this guy here. Right here, lifting this guy up, pulling this guy down. This is where this filter would be installed. Goes in there like so with these tabs up top. Once that's in there like that, you can take this and close it on up. Now that does have to be in place for this Truma water heater to work, for you to get water through it. We currently have it winterized, which is why there was no water when we popped this guy down. Typically when you pop this guy down, it's gonna shoot all the water that's in there out. But again, we do have this system winterized, ready for you to pick it up, which is why there's nothing in there. We just leave it stuffed in there like that, so you know where it is when you go to summarize it. Closing it up, power switch to turn it on, pressure relief valve up here. Close it up. Furnace exhaust, whenever your furnace is running, it'll be blowing out hot air, so just be mindful of that. You got a propane quick connect in case you had a little exterior barbecue you need to hook up, but you do have to get the line. We sell lines here at the shop. If you'd like to get set up with that, just contact your parts firm. They'd be more than happy to help you out. Storage down and under there. And now for the best part, to take a step on inside. You're just taking that assist handle, pushing it up, folding it 90 degrees, it's gonna lock into place, and it'll allow you to open your door. Once your door is open, right underneath this step here, under the clasp, moving out of the way, opening it up, that's where you get access to your 2 batteries. Those are your house batteries, not the Coach battery. On the wall here, you got your battery disconnect switch with it in the on position like it is now. The batteries are connected to the unit. If you were to turn that to the off position, the batteries would become disconnected from the unit, and the rest of the 12-volt system is disabled for inside of here. So if you're plugged in trying to operate stuff, it's not working, it's probably because you have your battery disconnect switch on. You get your solar controller over here. Bunch of different settings you can go and play with. I do recommend going over the owner's manual, of course, before doing any of that. We do currently have it set up for your basic charging needs though. If there's sun up top hitting those solar panels, it's gonna be applying a charge to your battery. Extra little note, it's always gonna be a good idea to go up periodically up on your roof, make sure that solar panel's nice and clean. Cleaning it with a nice soft microfiber towel and warm water. No harsh cleaning chemicals, otherwise you do run the risk of damaging the panel. Then your stabilizer jack system is up top. All retract, hitting that retracts all the jacks. Turning the power on first, of course, and then you got all your different controls so that you can get it nice and level. Of course, it's gonna be pretty crucial to bring a level with you. That way you can see where you're at. And then on my right, opening up this guy, this is gonna be your main heart for the unit, I guess you could call it, your main control. Bunk shade, so the shade up top, there is a nice window right up top there, but it does operate off of motors. Don't try and operate it by hand, otherwise again, you're gonna wreck those motors. Wi-Fi extender, turning that on, turns on a Wi-Fi extender. If you were running off that little fan switch, it's gonna turn a fan on inside. Then you got your awning. You can extend or retract that. You push and hold the extend button, the awning's gonna start making its way out. You are gonna have to watch it. The way you're gonna know that awning's fully out is you're gonna have to keep an eye on how much fabric you have left. Once you can see that metal tube, you're gonna wanna stop. So there you go, you got the back of the metal tube, so you know you're at your full extension. Now you're all done, it's set up. Isn't that crazy? And then to bring it in, just holding the retract button, the awning's gonna start making its way in. Now it's very crucial whenever you have this awning out, this is an extremely expensive awning, just because of how fancy it is. If the wind speeds start picking up, it's gonna be very crucial you bring it in, that way you don't rip it, bend it, or anything else like that. And as an added note, if you ever have to roll it in while it's wet, it's not the end of the world. Just try and remember to roll it back out and allow it time to dry off. That way you don't extend the growth of mold and mildew inside of there. And there you go. Contacts the side of the trailer, automatically cuts out. All your light switches are on that button there, so you can turn on all your lights. In addition to that, you push that little light switch there down here in this left corner. This brings you to your living space, so you can control those individually. Hitting the bedroom, control all those ones individually. Exterior, again, you can control them all individually or turn them all at the same time. It's kind of the light situation for inside. In here, you're gonna notice you got your holding tanks. We're gonna, of course, make sure that gray is emptied before you pick it up. Water pump switch, turning that on, draws out of your fresh tank, of course. Tank heaters. You do have tank heaters inside of here. It's a pad attached onto the bottom of the tank, essentially. It's for extended camping season, but just keep it in mind, our Manitoba winters are much too cold for that to be adequate. Realistically, if you're camping below -0, you do run the risk of things freezing, so just keep that in mind. So you're gonna have AGS. I'm gonna go over that once we get to the tab there. And then you got your generator start stop switch. So it says generator stopped currently. If you push and hold that stop button first, that was what primes the generator with fuel. Now it says gen priming. Hold that for about 5-10 seconds. Let off the button, hit start. And you can see it does fire right on up. Now, because this generator does run off fuel, your fuel tank on the bus does have to be over a quarter tank for it to work. And of course, because it's a small gas engine, oh sorry, actually I'm totally wrong about all that. This is it runs off propane, it does not run off fuel. So it's gonna be very important you have your propane on first before you start your generator. Went over the light section already. Coming into this next one, this is how you operate your slide out. So of course, the ignition has to be enabled. Hit that extend button, slide out starts making its way out. Now before you do run that slide out, it's always a good measure to give it a good visual inspection inside. Make sure nothing's shifted during travel that's gonna get caught between your slide out and the wall, causing any damage. And then of course, just on the outside of the slide, making sure you have enough room for it to go all the way out. Then it's just as simple as holding that button, watching it, being visual, making sure it's going out nice and even, not doing anything weird, making any bad noises. And then once that slide out does reach its full extension, you're gonna hear the motors wind up and quit. So there you go, you're all done. You also you can control your awning from in here as well. The next button, that brings you into your climate section. On the right, you got all your different fan settings. I'm gonna always recommend using that auto because then it means it's an on-demand system. So it's gonna kick the fan in and out as needed. If you run that on either high or low, the fan on the air conditioner is gonna run continuously regardless of what you have the room set to and regardless if you have the air conditioning on or off. Next, you just got all your different modes. So if you want cool, you hit cool, turns that on. You want heat, you turn heat. It's gonna flip that air conditioner around. So it's gonna, air conditioner traditionally blows out hot air, blows in cold air. When you turn on just the heat function, it flips that. It's called a heat pump. So it's gonna blow in the hot air and blow out the cold air. Furnace, that's what lights your propane furnace that's equipped inside of here. So of course, it's gonna be crucial that you do have your propane purged before you try to fire that anything propane up. I'm gonna go over purging once we get to your stove. And then if you hit that auto button, depending on what you have the room set to, will depend on what it turns on. After that temperature setting, you go to this setting, which is your auto generator start settings. So we currently have it disabled, but you can enable it, and you got all these different settings you can run through. I'm gonna recommend going over the owner's manual to get yourself familiar with how that could help you, or if you want to leave it disabled. Most people do leave it disabled. Go into your settings. That's how you change all your different settings for inside of here. It's also be how you would connect to either a Wi-Fi network or your phone app if you were to download it. Awning speed, you got awning speed 1, awning speed 2, that's fast and slower. Once we are inside, taking a look at your right, that is where you find that fire extinguisher, which is just like home. Pull the pin and shoot. Up top here, you got a little cover that goes over top of, I believe it does hang on these hooks that are on the wall. And then you got your ladder so you can get up to your bunk nice and easily in case you were to have some extra guests you weren't intending on. Over here, you notice this little cap. There might be a couple more of them throughout the unit. You just pull on, closing it, push on it, you get a little USB outputs. There's also a couple more USB outputs over here. Up front, your standard Mercedes chassis. Beautiful chassis. Now we're in the main space here. In here, you can turn this down into another bed in case you were to have some extra guests that do not fit up top. You can remove the foot from underneath the table here. Set your tabletop on its desired ledges. Take that one back cushion to fill in the center. You'd have yourself another bed. All the blinds in the unit do work the same way. They either work like this, where you're completely shutting out the sun, or they got that little netting setting, so it's blocking out some sun, letting some sun in. Again, they all work the same way. You can either have them right closed, right open. It's totally up to you. In our kitchen area, you got tons of storage throughout this unit. One thing I forgot to mention, tons of storage. But whenever you are using any of it, just be mindful of drains, water lines, and things like that. You're not going to be wanting to affect any of that. Inside your kitchen, again, it's going to be pretty standard. Sink, all those good things. Microwave up top. It's going to work just like home. Then you get to your stove. Now, because this unit's equipped with propane, we got your LP detector, which is right on that back wall there, right near the ground. If that guy ever starts going off, don't panic. Just turn off the main supply of propane underneath the unit there. Open up some windows and vents and get some fresh oxygen inside of here. Back to our stove. I went over purging earlier, so it's very important that you always purge your propane system after you've turned it off. Once you do turn your propane system off, it does slowly let air into the system. Once air makes its way in, it does have to be purged out. Now, the reason I'm telling you to do that through your stove is because you get to decide how long you leave the gas on for and how many lighting sequences it goes through. If you went to go to try to fire up your water heater, fridge, furnace, or anything like that that could run off propane, those will only try lighting themselves a couple times, and if they fail to light, it's going to throw a fault code at you. If you don't know what the fault code means, it could throw a little wrench in your weekend. Again, it's going to be something we want to help you try and avoid. So that's why I recommend coming to your stove first thing. So because it's a gas stove, you do want to be safe while doing so. If you do turn that over to the high light option, making sure you're running that igniter every few seconds. So that way when you do get gas flowing through there, there's no buildup of minor combustion, which if your face was nearby, you might lose some eyebrows and eyelashes. So there we go. You're going to see that's why I'm telling you to make sure you're operating that igniter every few seconds whenever you do have that gas running. If you can't hear that igniter, if you can't hear the igniter clicking, make sure you do turn that gas off. Let it ventilate itself out before you were to try to light it with a lighter. Down below your stove here, which by the way, to get it to fold down, it's kind of locked like this right off the bat. So if you try to close it, it's not going to want to close. Don't force it. Push it back to its position up top, pull it up and down towards you. Just keep in mind it is glass, so try and be gentle whenever you're closing and opening it. Right down below here, this is going to be a crucial point for winterizing. You're going to open up that drawer where we have this hose. You got a tab on each side, which you have to pull opposite ways of each other. That unlocks this drawer to come out of place. And then down below is the back. In that hole is the back of your Truma water heater. You would be undoing the two lines that are there and installing this hose in its place. Of course, in the the hot line and the cold line. Once that was installed into place, you would have to come to this back wall, remove these screws here, and that's where you would get access to your water pump to finish the rest of your winterization. You'd have your hose. You'd have to hook up your hose, run your hose into your pail antifreeze, yada yada, and run through the rest of the winterization. Of course, it's going to be done while your Truma water heater is off and drained. And then just to install everything, you're just lining the tracks back up, being nice and gentle with it. Slide it into place once you can feel it click. Give it a test pull, close it back up. And you would leave that, you could either leave that line connected for the duration of winter or disconnect it. It's going to be totally up to you. Got your fridge here, taking that handle, pulling on it. Fridge, freezer, little freezer spot up top. Power button here. You got to push and hold it. That turns it on. Got all your temperature settings here. You got to slide it with your finger. It's a touch situation. And again, this is going to be for the fridge. This is going to be for the freezer. Power button again, pushing and holding it will allow it to turn back off. You got your bed area. It's kind of a wedge bed system. So you would, a one piece, pull this down and flipping it around gets you to pull it back into its position. But before you bring your slide out in, it's always crucial that you pre-flip this before you do that. That way you're not causing any excess stress on anything. And in the bedroom, that is where you get your fire exit for the unit. Go over here. Obviously, you're going to have to lift that louvers. You got a handle on each side, pulling on the handles. You'd then be able to push on the window. It will pop right out. You can hop on out of the unit. Other than that, tons of storage all around the unit. You're gonna see that's your low point drain setting in here too. So if you just want to crack your low point drains, you could just get access by undoing this cap, sticking your hand in there, and opening the 2 valves. But for winterizing, you're gonna find it pretty difficult to do everything you need to do just through that hole. So that's why I do recommend taking out the 4 screws to do all that. On the rest of the back wall, it's just storage space. You get tons of it for all your clothes and stuff like that. It's really nice that they did include that. And then if you come towards this back here, you got all your bedroom light controls to get into the bathroom. Opening up that door, not allow you to take a step on inside. It's pretty much your standard bathroom. But on the wall, you get your Truma water control area here. So you got eco. So that's going to be the most efficient setting to run it off of. Below that, you got hot. Then you got off. And then you have cold for whatever reason. That turns on the cold water. And then you got a cleaning setting. That's a descaling setting. It's going to be very crucial you run that descaling. Depending on the water you're running it off of, most campsites are hard water. So it's going to be pretty crucial that you run that clean setting at least once every couple uses, just to keep things from scaling up. Other than that, that is it for this unit here. If you have any other questions, feel free to give us a call.